Right, lads, if you're planning on playing Feral in Midnight Mythic Plus, this is the only guide you're going to need, alright? I finished 6th in the world last season as a Feral Druid, so I know how the spec works, and I know how to push it to its limit. Alright, we'll go over the literal basics, yeah? To a little bit more in-depth stuff, you know, for the people who've actually played Feral, but they want to know, like, the Midnight rotations, you know, because it has changed a lot because of this Apex talent, okay? Alright, boys, talents. Basically, best build right now is 1 minute convoke. I actually like it. It feels like you have damage out of CDs now. And basically, in your 1 minute convokes, because you have a higher chance of doing an exceptional ability now, you want to get Frantic Frenzy procs in your convoke. You can't make it happen, it's just luck, but it's really nice if you do get it, because Frantic Frenzy is literally insane damn, boys. Insane damn. Like, it can be your top damn if you get lucky. This is like the main build everyone's playing at the moment. You know, tear down the mighty, increase Frantic Frenzy damage as well. Pairs well with constant convokes, you know. Wild Slashers. This is a bit of a controversial one for me. This is what people are playing. Sometimes I take it off and go Blood Spattered for prio dam, because sometimes it feels a bit pad, but it's just my opinion. Some people are playing Double Clawed Rake, but apparently it's not worth it that much anymore. Kind of just seeing. Hunger for Battle. This is an insane talent, boys. Like, if your tank can play around this, I think Feral could actually become really good. Like, real good. Especially in stuff like Magisters, yeah? You know, the after second boss, there's a lot of little lads that constantly spawn and proc this permanently, and it's just insane, boys. It's so fun. But yeah, Druid of the Claw is where it's at the moment, lads. I'm not gonna lie. If you do prefer playing Wildstalker on, you don't really care about pushing, yeah, this is the build that everyone's playing for Wildstalker. You do play Double Clawed Rake, and I don't know much about Wildstalker myself. As I say, I'm a Mythic Plus player, so I don't really care to play Wildstalker. Do you know what I'm saying? But this is the build. Yeah. Right, lads. Complete basics, okay? If you've never played Feral before. You've basically got 2 rips. Your rip, your normal rip, which is your single target rip that you use in single target. And then Primal Wrath is your AoE rip. It makes it last less, because 5 combat points is 19 seconds with normal rip. That's why I use it on single target. And the AoE one is 10 seconds. Your generators for the rip and the bites and stuff, in single target, it's going to be Shred. And then in AoE, anything like 2 targets and above, you're going to be pressing Swipe. The way that you deal AoE damage is Rampant Ferocity, okay? So, obviously, you've got your rips up, your AoE rips, and then your Rampant Ferocity is also going to be making you deal Ferocious Bite damage to everyone, pretty much. Yeah. Crafting order-wise, people are using the Blood Knight's Impetus, which is a 2-handed agility weapon. They're having Darkmoon Sigil Hunt on it. And then for their second crafted piece, they're doing Arcano Weave lining. You sim whichever one is best to go on that. But yeah, that's what people are doing for crafting orders. You can wait to see if you get a Mythtrack weapon in the vault, because then you can skip this. But that's crafting orders. I'm going to put the gems and enchants of what you're supposed to be using for Feral on the screen now. If you want to pause the video, whatever, this is what most people are using. Alright, so with Feral, in the Feral Discord, there's not much about the stat prio. Like, I think people are just going Mastery and Crit, and then a little bit of Haste. But ideally, you just want to be simming your character, boys, okay? Like, it's different, obviously. If someone has different gear than you, it'll be different. But I just recommend simming your character in pretty much every scenario. It just creates the best of the best, you know? Alright, one of the most helpful macros, in my opinion, in Mythic Plus, that just striving to make you a better player, is a set focus kick macro, boys. Bella's here. She's going to school bash me. Here's what it is. So let's say this dummy is the caster, okay? I just put my mouse cursor above, and I click a macro. It set focuses to it, puts a circle on it. So you would say, I kick circle, by the way, guys. And then let's say I'm attacking skull. This guy's casting, and it's my kick next. I will then press my other macro, my kick macro, which will actually kick it. It did kick it then. It's one of the best macros you can get in Mythic Plus. I will link it in the description for you to use. Alright, so what snapshotting is basically, if I get 5 combat points, let's say, and then I put Primal Wrath on everything, yeah, this is a worse bleed. So this is without Tiger's Fury. So it's like reddish tint, whatever. But let's say I put Tiger's Fury on with that, yeah, and they've gone orange, as you see here. That is a snapshotted bleed, okay? This means for the whole duration of that bleed, it's going to be 15% increased damage, because that's what Tiger's Fury is. And the snapshotting works with every bleed, like Frantic Frenzy, Rake, Primal Wrath, Normal Rip, you know what I'm saying? It works for them all, so. Right, pandemic windows. What a pandemic window basically is when you use your Primal Wrath, okay, let's say I use it on 10 combo points, it lasts 10 seconds. And pandemic is 30% of how long that it lasts. So let's say you put it on 10 seconds, pandemic window would be 3 seconds. So if I let this go down right now, so it lasts 10 seconds on 5 combo points, but then if I now put it up now, when it hits 3, it goes to 13 seconds. That's your pandemic window, yeah? If you do it on 4 combo points, it's going to be 2.4 seconds is your pandemic window. Like I said, it's 30% of what the bleed is. So, yeah, you kind of get more value, you know, refreshing it then. So you can go actually above what it actually says, 5 combo points is 10 seconds. But if you did it in the pandemic window, you get 30% more. Same with the single rip. So 19 seconds is 5.7, I believe. You know, 16 seconds, it's just 30% of whichever one you're doing, you know? Alright, let's go over the 2 CCs that you mainly have as a Feral Druid, okay? Like, let's say you're getting the next 2 CCs, and these are the mobs. So the casting, let's say, you have incap brought, it incaps for 3 seconds, you know? It just basically stopped the casts. And then straight away after that, I set my Vortex up, your Ursul's Vortex, and then you can Typhoon. That will also stop a cast. Let's say they're about to cast, you would Typhoon, and then they would all get pushed away but dragged back in. So it kind of delays the casts, in a sense. Also, massive defensive tip for Feral Druids. I know a lot of people do not utilize their bear form correctly, and this is one of the best things in the game, like the most crazy defensive. You basically have a permanent defensive, like, whenever you want. So, like, let's say in certain dungeons, there's a boss mechanic that's going to do AoE, yeah? And you just want to quickly switch to bear form, and then you can quickly switch back. You can actually, so let's say I've been in bear form and I switch back to cat. You get this, Wild Shape Mastery. You retain 176% increased armor and 20% increased stamina from bear form. So you can kind of cat weave, if that makes sense. But if you are taking heavy damage, you can just, you know, stay in bear form. Let's say you're getting casted on. You know, I highly recommend an add-on called Targeted Spells. Here it is. Targeted Spells. So it basically tells you if something's getting casted on you. So what I like to do, let's say I'm in a high key, and then something's casted on me. I see it in the middle of my screen. Just before it's casted on me, if no one's got a kick or anything, let's say, I will just quickly bear form, take the hit, straight back in cat. Yeah? And you're most of the time running fluid form. So what this does is, let's say I'm in bear form, yeah? I've got Rake in my bear form. You can't use Rake in bear, but with fluid form, if you press Rake, you instantly switch back to cat. So you don't kind of waste the global, in a sense. Another neat thing you can do as a Feral Druid is basically get out of any root or snare. Because shapeshifting, let's say you switch to bear, straight back to cat, whatever, it completely gets rid of any roots or snares. And in this dungeon pool that is coming out in the new season, it's incredibly good, boys, because there's a lot of stuff that roots you. Let's say the gargoyles that can pick you up in Pit of Sauron, you can literally just shapeshift, get out of it. Your team doesn't have to help you get out. Let's say in Mesara Caverns, the mini boss after first boss, where is it? This mini boss drags you to the middle. You can just shapeshift to get out of it. Stuff like that, yeah? There's a lot of stuff you will realise when you're playing Feral that you can just shapeshift pretty much everything. Yeah, so that's like the literal basics of Feral, you know? It's all about your snapshots, your pandemics, and, you know, basically knowing when to use your CDs, okay? Your Tiger's Fury, believe it or not, is actually better than your Berserk. I know. It's 30-second CD. but it's actually better because you get 4 uses of it before the time of your berserk, you know? Whenever you are sending your berserk, you are going to want to be pairing Tiger's Fury up with that, okay? You never want to send berserk unless you have Tiger's Fury, okay? Right, let me show you what I do in single target on a boss, okay? So, you're going to want to be in stealth because your rake deals 60% increased damage when you're in stealth, okay? So, I've got a tracker that tells you what I'm pressing, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to go slow. So I'm not going to do it quick. I'm going to do it as it is, you know. So what I do is I will rake, I will Tiger's Fury and Berserk at the same time. You can macro this in the same macro, but I've just used pressing them separate. So I'll press both. I will then press Frantic Frenzy to get to 5 combo points. I will then rip, and then I will send a bite, which is a Ravage, because you are guaranteed a Ravage your first Tiger's Fury, okay, in combat. And then after that Ravage, which gives you an 8% agility buff, thanks to this. So this gives you 8% agility. And then I will send the Convoke, okay? So during your CDs, you want to be Convoking when you have like 4 or less combo points, okay? It just makes you do more damage in the long run. Out of CDs, you can get away with 2 combo points. Alright, so after you finish the Convoke, and then you're basically out of CDs, okay? You basically want to rip if you have at least 4 combo points, rip is missing or in pandemic range, or Tiger's Fury's up or won't be up before rip expires, if that makes sense. Alright, let me do it a little bit quicker this time, okay? So, let's say I am in stealth, obviously. I'm going to do my increased damage with Rake. I'm going to Tiger's Fury, Berserk, Frantic Frenzy, put my rip up, bite, and then Convoke, yeah? And then what I do in single target, so the pandemic's 5.7 seconds with a normal rip. So I'm just biting at 5 combo points during my berserk. And then just before Tiger's Fury ends, I refresh my rip. Now it's at 24 seconds-ish. Okay? That's my opener on single target. So now this whole rip is good. And then I'm just biting. Okay? Outside of CDs, you are now biting at 4 combo points. Okay? Sorry for my dog. 4 combo points. And you're not pooling for energy. Obviously, if you're at 5 combo points, just send the bite. It's exactly like it's better, obviously. But the reason why you send at 4 now is because of this talent. Okay, when you Ferocious Bite, you have a 15% chance per combo point spent to flicker at an enemy. Okay, it just sims better if you send at 4, which is like crazy to get used to because I'm not used to that. But that's how we play now. Yeah, so like I said, you do not want to be pooling. So before, you would actually pool for an extra 25 energy. So instead of sending at 25 energy, you would send at 50. You no longer do that. You just literally send your bites at 25 energy to get more bites off because of your Apex talent. Right, so I highly recommend going into your cooldown settings, okay, and tracking this. Sudden Ambush. Your finisher moves have a 6% chance per combo point spent to increase the direct damage of your next rake, shred, or swipe by 50% and make it critically strike. Okay? So, let's say I got the proc. Oh, let me just save that. Over. Let me just wait till I get the proc. So as you can see it here. And having this up means that my next rake, I can snapshot it to be better. So if I press rake now it has a better bleed on it, okay? So basically you want to rake, if you are upgrading rake snapshot value, which is with this talent, yeah? And rake is in pandemic and Tiger's Fury's up, okay? You can also rake if it has 2 or few seconds remaining and Tiger's Fury won't be up in time, then you would also rake, okay? It's a little bit confusing, but you kind of get used to all this stuff, boys. Right, so the exact same scenario in AoE, okay, but just a little bit different. So in single target, you are in your CDs, you are biting at 5 combo points, yeah? In AoE, even in CDs, you're just sending at 4. Sometimes you're naturally at 5, you just send it. But yeah, you are literally sending bites at 4 combo points. That's what the sims are saying is the best. And obviously, you're not pooling, okay? You're not saving your energy for 50. You no longer need to do that. Okay, I'm going to show you what I do in AoE. I'm going to do it fast, because I kind of have to do it fast to show you how I do it, because I have to line up my pandemics. So basically, pretend this is the prio mob. I'm gonna rake, pop my CDs, frantic, AoE, bite, and then convoke. Yeah. When my rip's on 3 seconds, I will redo the rip. Now I'm just swiping, biting, swiping. I'm gonna refresh it just before Tiger's Fury ends my rip. So now that whole rip is good. And then I'm just biting. 4 combo point bites. 4 combo point bites. Yeah. 5 combo points, that's okay, just send it. And because I refreshed it, the rip before, my Tiger's Fury would be back up in time, just as it ends. So then obviously you just Tiger's Fury, and then you can go back into your rotation. Which is just biting as much as you can. Bite, 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 boys. Yeah? Just before Tiger's Fury ends, I reset my pandemic window. And then save again. Just biting, biting, biting. Obviously, I'm trying to explain it, so my stuff's not lining up properly. But yeah. So the burst that we just did with the pandemics, okay? You're refreshing on the pandemic window during your CDs in AoE, okay? Out of your CDs, you are actually refreshing at 4+ combo points if rips have 6.5 seconds remaining or less. This is what the Sims are saying is best. Other than that, you're just biting, okay? During your AoE burst, you are using swipe to gain your combo points because of this. Claw Rampage, okay? During Berserk, Shred and Swipe have a 20% chance to make your next Ferocious Bite become Ravage. Okay? So, you're using Swipe. In AoE, you also want to refresh your reeks that are missing or in Pandemic window when facing up to 3 targets. If that makes sense, okay? Anything more, you get a bit energy starved. Right, let me show you what I would do in a single turret scenario if my Berserk wasn't up. Let's say I'm going into the boss in a Mythic plus dungeon, and I don't have Berserk. I've got everything else. So I'll be in stealth, I will rake, Tiger's Fury, frantic, rip, and then I'll go into a convoke straight away because I'm not going to be at 5 combo points because I'm not in Berserk. Then I'll be biting, I will rake when it's at 2 seconds-ish, and then just before my Tiger's Fury ends, I'm going to refresh that whole bleed, yeah? I've snapshotted it in the pandemic window, yeah? So that whole bleed is now good. Then I'm just going to be sending bites regardless of energy at 4 combo points plus, yeah? Alright, boys, I appreciate you watching for real, yeah? I mean, it was my first video, my first time I've edited a video, so obviously there's going to be hiccups, it's going to be newbie, you know what I'm saying? But I do appreciate you watching. If there's any questions about Feral or anything in the video that you want me to answer, let me know in the comments, boys, okay? Alright, peace out, boys.